That one's drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 78 of The Burrows. It is Friday, October 3rd. As always, I'm Kevin Bunk, joined by Michael Merlo, and what a day it is, for me at least, because the Yankees move on. We had an electric week of baseball, finished with a great game last night. Good games throughout the day yesterday. Tigers kind of killed the Guardians. We'll get into all of the wild card matchups. We'll get into our division series preview, talk about whatever else comes up. But we start, of course, with the Yankees, Mike. And you got to be feeling good for New York sports today and your guys in the Bronx.
I wouldn't say I feel good. I'm happy for certain fans, but I'm not feeling great about today. But it was a great series. It was. The games were exciting. They obviously felt bigger because of the opponent. And it was a lot of fun to watch, especially those first two games. And then last night, watching an all-time performance from Cam Schlittler, it was remarkable what he was able to do tonight. And the Yankees were able to scratch off a couple early, and that was enough. And it was just a perfect night for Aaron Boone and the New York Yankees and their fans.
Cam Schlittler put in a legendary, completely iconic performance, probably the best Yankees modern era playoff start. And especially for these 21st century fans, just a really signature performance. So many different components to that. He's the first pitcher in MLB history to have 12-plus strikeouts in a winner-take-all postseason game. He did it as a rookie. He's the only guy to have 12 Ks, no earned runs, no walks through 8 innings pitched in a playoff game. It's just an unbelievable outing. But what is so signature about it is that notion that the Yankees couldn't beat the Red Sox. The Red Sox have owned the Yankees for 22 years now in big spots, and especially in this Alex Cora, Aaron Boone era, it has been all Boston. So to get that monkey off your back because Cam Schlittler came out and just put it in his own hands and took matters into his own hands to beat this team where, of course, he's from nonetheless, and he grew up rooting for them. This was just a perfect start for Cam Schlittler to kick off his postseason career. Unbelievable, everything involved.
Well, it's perfect because, you have this kid who's obviously a rookie, came up in, June or July, and he's the next wave. He's the next generation here for the New York Yankees and their fans. And for him to finally get a taste of how big this rivalry is and for him to have that start in that spot, that's huge. And you have a Boston team that is young and has some star players coming up and has some legitimate franchise cornerstones. A couple of them not playing last night, but still, that team, that organization, he's able to have that big start against them. That's a shot. This is what the future is going to look like if Cam Schlittler is healthy and pitching against you.
I had sent you a text last night because I did not want to forget this stat.
Yeah.
Stat of the night. Cam Schlittler didn't have a 3-ball count after the second inning last night, which is such a testament to how he's matured just in the last 3 months as a pitcher because he has a high walk rate. He has trouble keeping the counts low. And to start that game, we saw a lot of the same in the first 2 innings where he was getting into full counts. He had 40-something pitches through the first 2 innings, and he finishes with 107 or 108 through 8. I mean, just incredible efficiency, became incredibly economical after the second inning, and you can't do better than that. No 3-ball counts after and no runs allowed. It's unbelievable.
How funny is it in a series in which Garrett Crochet, who's probably going to finish second in AL Cy Young Award voting, Max Fried, who will be top 5, Rodon's going to get a couple of votes there. Out of all of those guys, Cam Schlittler was easily the best pitcher in this series. Easily the best pitcher. He had better start than Tariq Skubal the other day, you could argue. And that's the best pitcher in baseball. So it just shows you how impressive this was on such a big stage. It really is one of the great starts in Yankee history and maybe in postseason history.
It was the best start of this wild card round for sure. You're right. And that's with all of the Cy Young candidates and all the names that you have in the American League. Cam Schlittler takes the cake with an unbelievable 8 innings. for Boston on the other side of this, just as a fan of the Yankees, the perspective for me when I saw the lineup card come out every day is, man, like it would be a shame to lose to this team because that lineup is not good. Alex Bregman does not own the Yankees. He just used to play for a team that owns the Yankees. So even he is not a scary guy in the middle of that. Trevor Story had a nice series, but other than that, that lineup is awful, and it was awful. They really miss Anthony. They obviously traded Devers in the middle of a season, but without Roman Anthony, I thought that lineup was just the shell of the team that actually made the playoffs.
Well, it was, and they really started to play poorly towards the end of the season as well offensively. Right around when Anthony got hurt, Bregman really cooled off. Remember, his OPS in the 900s. He finished low 800s. So a lot of guys that got off to really hot starts this year, came back down to earth, especially towards the middle and end of the year. I'll tell you what, though, Kevin, I agree with you. I thought the Yankees should have won the series. I thought they were the better team coming in, but the Red Sox had a chance. I mean, the Red Sox seriously had a chance in Game 2 to win this series, and they did not take advantage of a couple of mistakes, and they lost. And when they did not win Game 2, to me, it was over. This series was over when they lost Game 2 to the Yankees.
And in hindsight, the Game 1 loss was frustrating, and we'll get into all three of them because there's a lot to take from each. But the Game 1 loss is so frustrating. But you lost the Crochet-Chapman game. He handed it off to Chapman, and you lost it 3-1. It's not this awful, gut-wrenching loss, obviously, now that they've won the series, but that we were making it out to be that night. It's probably a game that teams lose 9 out of 10 times when Garrett Crochet starts in a big spot, and then Aroldis Chapman is able to just take the ball from him. I mean, what are you going to do there? It's just a lethal pairing for Boston. Do you think Cora blew Game 2 with Bayo or no?
I don't know. I think he probably went to it, took him out a little too early, went to the bullpen early. We know these managers want to get to that bullpen as fast as possible with certain starters on the mound, especially if you have trust in your bullpen. I don't know how much trust he should have had in that specific pen. It's not a great bullpen, but, I thought he left Whitlock in there a little too long on Wednesday night. I did not like that. Now, you couldn't go to Chapman. You couldn't go to Chapman in that spot because if he gave up the lead, you can't waste Chapman, especially after throwing all those pitches the night prior. But he probably stuck with Whitlock a little too long in that game. So I have a problem with the way he managed Game 2 as a whole, not necessarily just the way he managed Bayo.
How about on the other side of this? Does Aaron Boone get any credit for this Yankees series win? Because they're the first team in this expanded playoff to lose Game 1 of a wild card round and win the series. No team has done that yet. They're the first team to do it, and he's got to get some credit for learning from his mistakes, I think, with Fried and letting Schlittler just ride until he's done at over 100 pitches. He has to get some credit for managing Game 3.
It was
4-0 win. I think he has to, for all the rippings. I'm not going to say he made this genius move to win the game that no one's giving him credit for, but for all of the ripping that he gets and got from me after Game 1 and through his entire tenure, he's got to get a little credit for at least not screwing it up.
Yeah. Like, you have Cam Schlittler. He has an all-time performance. You could see it. You could tell the guy was still touching 98, 99, 100 in the 7th and the 8th. He's obviously going back out there for the 8th inning. So he was handed a beautiful performance from his rookie starting pitcher. I thought he almost got a little too shaky with Rodon. I don't trust Rodon at all in any big spot, but he ended up working out. Bullpen was able to get out of the mess that Rodon made for them in Game 2. So that, I think if runs scored in that inning, I think we're sitting here saying, I can't believe Boone left Rodon in for one more batter after throwing 4 straight balls to the leadoff guy.
And there's this, I do agree with half of this, that not playing Jazz and then bringing him into the 8th inning defensively, then he had to face Chapman. That was really poor management. That was a bad job. I also thought bringing Luke Weaver in Game 1 was a bad job also. He had a 9.5 ERA in September. He had an awful finish to the season. I said that the week before this, he would not be a guy I trust in the playoffs. And if you had more depth, I'd like to leave him off the playoff roster, but you didn't have more depth to leave him off. Either way, they win the series. They get
Who
out of it.
Who would have you went to in that spot?
I would have went to Tim Hill because CORA was just waiting to use Yoshida or Lowe in that game off the bench, and Yoshida came in and hurt you. He would not have gone to Yoshida with a lefty. You had 1 out, the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. I'm going to Hill because I think he can fill the zone enough to just get 2 outs in play. And then Weaver comes in, walks Rafaela, and you pinch hit Yoshida. Rest is history. Yankees lose game 1. That was where I think the mistake was, because you played right into CORA's hand there with the lefties on the bench.
Interesting. And then he goes to Cruz after he takes Weaver out, after Weaver doesn't get out or got 1 out, whatever it was. And I'm okay with taking Fried out in that spot.
I was okay with it. Fried started to look tired.
He
tired. Started to look tired there.
He was tired.
I didn't think he was just rolling through guys like Yankees Twitter wanted to make it sound after the game. I was okay with that.
Yeah, and this comment, I just read the comment now, and it's the same thing. I completely agree with that. I thought that he was missing. He was missing with pitches. You could tell from his expressions he was done. And if we could tell from our TV, then Aaron Boone from the dugout could clearly tell that he was done.
And you know what people also, you caught a little bit of it last night, but what people also don't think about a lot of the times when just ripping the manager is he talks to the pitcher in the dugout. You don't see that on TV. It's not mic'd up. Buster Olney's not sitting right next to them telling you what they're saying. But we saw him speak to Schlittler last night after the 7th. We saw him just briefly talk to him after the 8th and tell him it's over. You're done.
Yeah.
But Fried could have went to him and been like, I can get Duran, but I'm like, I don't have that much more. And they could have had that conversation. So I'm not going to rip him for taking Fried out. The Jazz thing was bad. Not playing Ben Rice was not bad. As much as I love Ben Rice, Goldschmidt's got to play against lefties. He got another hit last night against Chapman. So Boone, they win the series. He does a good enough job there. And now he's got a big one up in Toronto. But another credit for Boone is not pitching Heel and pitching Schlittler instead. That was a real decision that had to be made, and he made it.
That was debated.
Remember the Red Sox Heel stats that I brought up here 2-3 weeks ago? Schlittler's a better pitcher for sure, but I bet Heel owns Boston.
Really?
Heel owns Boston. He's in 5 outings. He's got like a 1-something ERA. He's got like 1,000 strikeouts. Doesn't give up any runs.
Interesting.
And you had to make a choice there. While it always should have been Schlittler because he's better, and that's just how you should manage this stuff, they end up with going with Schlittler, and it works out. Heel, there was definitely a little bit of a thought process there. But let's just quickly go to the other side of things, too. I thought Early had a really nice start here, all things considered, too, for Boston, and they let him down.
Yeah, that inning defensively was awful. That kid had a ton of pressure. I mean, you want to talk about a young kid. That's a young kid right there making a start that he probably did not expect to be. And I saw a video of Giancarlo Stanton hitting a double off of him in the minor leagues this season in a rehab start. Like this is what is going to be deciding who advances to the division round. That is unbelievable. So give him credit. Yeah, he stepped up, and then the defense couldn't help him out. And then he just got into way too much trouble on that inning. And there's nothing you could do after that, especially with a young kid like that in a tough place to play.
Let's talk about the Eaton play on Wednesday night, which I had obviously had multiple conversations with you the last few days. I didn't see it live. I was playing softball, following the game while I was playing softball the last 3 innings, and I missed it. But I just looked at it before we did the show to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. He could have scored. He should have at least tried. I mean, if you think he wasn't going to score, fine. He should have at least went for it. And the Red Sox didn't score a run the rest of the series.
No. Oh, my God. Now I'm realizing that. He should have scored on that play. You make it 4-3, and now we're talking about a completely different, what was that, the 7th or the 8th? We're talking about a completely different series because, I think it was the top of the 8th. Now you go to Whitlock again for that 8th. But when Whitlock gets into any trouble, Chapman's up with a lead coming into that game no matter what. I think it's a completely different series if Eaton's able to score. How about Trevor Story with the bases loaded? not being able to come through. Yankees get out of that mess as well. So, we're talking about a couple of different plays, a couple of different pitches from this being a completely different series. And the Yankees, give them credit. Give Jazz credit for making that play, stopping the ball before it gets to the outfield. Give credit to Ben Rice sort of keeping it in front of him. If things go differently in those instances, we're talking about a completely different episode right now.
And that's been the story between the Yankees and Red Sox for the better part of the last decade, where we mentioned the stats the other day, or I mentioned them on Bunker and a little video about it afterwards on social, but the Yankees were 1-9 in their last 10 before game 2, and 6 of those games were decided by 1 or 2 runs. And that's been the close margin of difference between these two teams, and the Yankees have often come on the wrong side of that. And Boston made mistakes in game 2 that were similar to the ones that the Yankees would make against them recently. The Duran drop, Eaton not scoring, and not hitting with runners in scoring position, and they end up losing that game. And Cora knew, and we all knew, they had to win the second game. They had to. And they didn't, and Cora managed for the win, and they end up losing it. And that's it. Their season's
He had no
now.
chance. He had no chance in this game. He had no chance last night. Unless you got to the rookie early, but you were going to have to score a ton of runs. You just were going to have to score a ton of runs. And they couldn't touch him, and they couldn't touch him at all. So he went to win, like you said, in game 2, and they weren't able to close the door.
And one little minor note for the Yankees here, Anthony Volpe in the playoffs has been good the last 2 years. No doubt about that. But this goes back to a conversation we had throughout the summer. With the way this team is constructed, the way they're built, if he just gives you a few good at-bats here and there and great defense, he's valued on this team. And he made some big defensive plays, especially in the last 2 games.
Jazz could throw the ball at second base.
Bailing Jazz out. Bailed out Devin Williams on a high throw on the double play on Wednesday. So this is the Volpe that you really wanted as a Yankee fan full time. You're glad you get him in October, and we'll see if he can keep it up in Toronto.
Playoff Volpe. That's what you get.
Volpe.
You get playoff Volpe. What does he look like in Canada now? We'll see how that looks.
How about Stanton watching that double go to the wall?
I thought he was getting thrown out. I thought he was done at second.
Because I thought it was a lot of trouble when I hear Ravitch say Stanton thought he got it. And the outfielders were sprinting after it, telling me that ball's not leaving the yard, and Stanton's probably standing in the batter's box right now.
He's talking to the dugout. He's like, let's go.
And
they're going like this.
And they're all, did you hear? I think it was David Cohen said it, but maybe Carl Ravitch said it. Was like, I wonder what the thought is if you're in that dugout watching him celebrate a home run and you're saying that is not getting out in the dugout. But either way, and then the ball hits the wall and they show him rounding first. And I was like, oh my God, he's definitely getting thrown out right here. And he doesn't. He gets the second. They don't score anyways, but my God.
They couldn't play defense last night, that Boston team. They couldn't do anything right defensively.
You know,
they literally looked like the Yankees.
Any metric you want to look at, team defense, they were bottom 3, no matter where you look. I didn't know that until last night with Boston.
Insane.
Because the Red Sox fans really started pumping it last night about how bad defensively they've been this season.
Yeah.
And obviously it showed up last night. That fourth inning was awful for them. It was a disaster defensively.
Looked like the Yankees at some points this year. They really did.
Looked like the Yanks at some point this year. What do you think of this Toronto series for them?
It's going to be fun. I'm actually very excited for this series. I think it's going to go 5 games. Yeah, I think I predicted that they would win the wild card round and beat Toronto in 5 games. So I'm going to stick with it. I think when you have the pitching advantage, starting pitching advantage that you have, if you get these big time starts from your big time guys, and you can hand it off to the 2 guys in your pen you really trust, hopefully, you should win the series. I don't think I like the Toronto bullpen more. But I don't like the starters more. No. I don't like the starters more.
And without Bo Bichette, the lineups get very, close.
Bichette's not playing.
No, it sounds like he's out for the series.
Okay.
because I think Vladdy had made a remark about, they're hoping to get him back in the championship series. Kind of a slip-up remark. They were talking about it on MLB Network right before we jumped on. Our guy, Steve Phillips, talking about it.
Right.
But
Steve Phillips.
It does sound like Bichette's out for this series. So we'll see. Their pitching's very interesting. Toronto, their starting pitching, how they'll lay that out. You imagine you get Gausman Saturday, and then you see who will follow and how they'll order that. See what Shane Bieber could do in this series if he's going to be a starter in these games. Another interesting mid-year move for them, getting him. For the Yankees, I probably start Heel on Saturday, back him with Warren, and then you get Fried Sunday. So we'll see. It's going to be a big game one. If you can steal game one with Fried in game two, you're money. I don't expect them to win tomorrow, but it'll be close.
Fried pitches Tuesday, right?
Sunday right now is the expectation. He's going to go Tuesday to Sunday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's only 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah. Okay. So he goes Sunday. Okay. I don't mind that.
I think you get Heel back by Warren tomorrow.
Okay.
And try and get innings from the two of them, maybe 7 innings from the two of them. And you got to show up and hit. That's going to be the bottom line in Toronto. You got to show up and hit, and you got to play defense. Because if you don't, you're not going to beat this team.
But they're going to put the ball in play. They don't strike out. They're going to put the ball in play, and they got a lot of big bats there. Even though you're missing Bichette, big bats in that lineup.
And what's great about the right-handed dominance of their pitching staff is Ryan McMahon is not even a question every day. Ryan McMahon's got to play, and he's so much more certain. How about the catch from McMahon last night, too, in the 8th? That's how the World Series highlight tape starts, is McMahon flipping over.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought when he made the play. I was like, crap.
That was a great grab.
I was like, that's a nice play.
And how about your boy Ahmed Rosario coming through big for them in the 4th?
I was joking around with some friends yesterday, and I literally go Ahmed Rosario in a winner-take-all wild card round game with laughing emojis, and Ahmed Rosario drives in the first run of the game. That was good.
Remember at the deadline how excited I was for this move, and I told you this move and the Jose Caballero move are the two best moves of Cashman's life.
Yeah,
because they really needed a utility infielder to hit left-handed pitching, and they needed the pinch runner, and they got both. And I said that to you, I think, live on the show about Rosario, and you're like, all right, it's Ahmed.
He's got like an 800 career OPS against lefties.
He's useless against righties.
Yeah,
completely useless.
Yeah,
but yeah, nice win for the Yankees. Nice series win, a feel-good series win for our age Yankee fans who really just can't get by Boston.
Get bullied by Boston.
It's the truth. They get bullied, and not only do you get bullied by them, you fold against them. It's both sides do their part to make sure the Yankees lose the game in that matchup. Let's bounce around the other wild card rounds and the other division series.
I got to talk about the Padres.
We got the Padres Cubs.
I got to talk about the Padres.
Yeah. Where do you want to start with that one?
I don't even want to start. Is that getting any media attention, by the way?
No.
Is that getting anything?
None.
Okay, so we'll hold up on that.
Yeah.
This team has gone all in. They make these crazy trades. They spend all this money, and they have absolutely nothing to show for it. And now you're losing a rise. Dylan Cease is a free agent. Michael King is a free agent. You have Machado and Tatis are another year older, especially Machado. I mean, what is it? This team has nothing to show for the money and prospects they have traded. Yes, their bullpen will still be strong next year, but it's going to be a different team. And Machado's a year older. Are they ever going to win? And when does AJ Preller get on the hot seat?
Yeah, it feels like they're just done. Like the window feels shut. It really, in hindsight, is going to be the Soto year that they went to the NLCS, had to be the season for them. And the Phillies moved on through that series, right? That was Phillies Padres. So I don't think that this team's going to go too far. This Bogarts contract's a mess. It's an awful contract. And, he had a kind of a nice little week here. I saw Padres fans saying like, oh, Bogarts really flipped the script here. But how excited are you for another 10 years of Bogarts? Yeah. You're not. And you trade all these top prospects. And while Mason Miller's great, and you have these great pitchers in the bullpen, it's just not worth the prospects you give up if they're good players. It's not with the context of this team. Like, you have talent on the team already. You don't stink. You can find bullpen innings.
Yeah, like for a relief pitcher, we're giving up a big time shortstop prospect for a relief pitcher. You know, if it's a starting pitcher, you know, if you're going out there and trading for Tariq Skubal and that's the centerpiece plus a lot more, that's fine, which by the way is probably going to be available, but that's an offseason discussion.
Yeah.
But either way, I've already loaded up some packages to send David Stearns for the Mets. So
well, if you wouldn't do Sproat and Jet Williams for Crochet, I have a feeling they're not getting Skubal.
No, we'll give him Tong, Sproat, and
Jet Williams.
Yeah. Mark Vientos. Either way, we're not talking about them. I just, you know, when you come into the series and you're like, all right, we have this super bullpen, and you look on the other side, and it's like, no, we actually have the better bullpen in this series. That was Chicago. I mean, I remember watching the Mets and the Cubs last week when the Mets needed to win, and they took the series. And it was my first time watching the Cubs in a very long time. And I came away from that series saying, holy crap, they have a lot of arms in the pen that are good, like good, reliable arms in the pen. And they are scary. This is going to be a really fun division series between them and the Brewers.
Yeah, I think that Chicago's just got a great shot here. You know, division opponent, playing with house money, got a little Craig Counsell storyline here too. Counsell versus Murphy. I think Chicago's going to win this series, man. I really do. They looked the pitching is the promise from the wild card round. If there's one takeaway from the Cubs that makes you say, I think they can knock out the Brewers, it's the pitching. But they're going to hit a little bit too. But their bullpen's really good, and the starters are much better than fans around the league knew. And I didn't realize that until about 6 weeks ago.
Palencia Palencia is unbelievable. They're their closer who came in the sixth the other day. He's unbelievable. He just came back from injury a week and a half ago. He's great.
Yep.
And listen, Matthew Boyd was really good to start the year, and he tailed off towards the end. But Tyone was good. Imanaga struggled a little bit. They're without Cade Horton, who's probably the rookie of the year in the National League. I don't know if they're getting him back. But, yeah, and Gabe says it too. I mean, their defense is really good. They have they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. So you mix it with that and timely hitting, they're dangerous. They're dangerous.
And Seiya Suzuki's a beast.
Seiya Suzuki underrated.
Is such an underrated hitter. He is so good in the middle of your order. And Bush has had a really nice year too.
I'm going to say Bush is really underrated.
Everybody talks about Kyle Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong, and understandably so. They're two big names, two all-star guys, two guys that were MVP candidates midway through the year. But Michael Bush, Seiya Suzuki, Nico Orner, there's really good players on this team surrounding those two guys. And those guys, Bush, Orner, Suzuki, the pitchers, the bullpen, have really got Gabe shouts out Dansby Swanson here, who defensively is just a marvel at shortstop. He's so smooth. Those guys have gotten them here because Tucker and PCA had such poor summers that it's been the supporting cast that kept them afloat in Chicago. They don't rely on two guys to mash.
And if they do get those guys going, holy crap, you're really not going to beat them. The Dodgers or the Phillies aren't going to beat them if Tucker or PCA get going here. Yeah, it's great. They're fun to watch too. And it's just so much fun watching playoff games at Wrigley Field. Like it is. It's just great. It's a great atmosphere there.
It's awesome. I think the Cubs are going to have a great shot at keeping the momentum going, keeping it alive through the division series. They got a good chance to beat the Brewers. I think if you're Milwaukee, this was probably the team you didn't want to see. They swept you a month and a half ago, maybe even just a month ago. They swept you in a big series. They have played you so many times. They've seen your pitching so many times. I think this was the team you don't want because you know that they understand how you want to play the game, how you want to try to win, and they've had some success this year with being able to beat that.
Well, they're also built similarly.
Mm-hmm.
They are, because you look at Chicago and you say, oh, well, the starters are good, not great. Same thing with the Brewers. I mean, you have Peralta, who's been great this year, and then Priester's been good, and other guys that have been good. And then it's the bullpen. It's about the bullpen, getting to that stable of arms. So they are built sort of similarly.
And that makes sense because Council's going to bring some philosophies to Chicago that Milwaukee is going to keep intact. I think one thing the Brewers have done through the turnover in the organization is they philosophically stay the same. They are really true to their identity as a franchise. It's not tied to David Stearns. It's not tied to Craig Counsell. It's not tied just to Pat Murphy. It's a franchise-wide identity from ownership down that sticks. And Council's brought some of that to Chicago. And now this is the culmination for those fan bases. This is the culmination of him burning them to go to Chicago, to go for the money and leave the Brewers, where he was celebrated and loved. But Pat Murphy has just taken the mantle and become even greater in their local community and support for Murphy and for the manager. So this is the culmination for those franchises. While that storyline might not matter much to us, for them, this is big time, especially for Brewers fans here. There's pressure on Milwaukee, and there's a need to get this win this week.
They don't have to win the World Series. They may not even have to get to the World Series, but they have to win this series.
Yep, they have to.
They have to win this series.
Let's talk about this Bogaerts situation and the missed call, which was a bad one.
Really bad.
Really bad 3-2 count, strike three. Who knows what we're talking about today if they get 2 men on, no one out in this game, but the aftermath of this call too.
We can't be screaming like we're about to fight the umpires like that. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I just uploaded it to here, so I'll play it quick.
Okay.
I don't know if it has audio, but I'm going to play it. I get it's frustrating, man, and your season just ended. But OMG, is that Jose Iglesias in the hoodie just going at the umpires?
It looks like him. It looks like Iglesias. I can't believe it. I literally cannot believe it. It almost looks like if it's a fake video. I literally hope it's fake. And nobody is talking about this. Nobody.
I wonder if it's just a subject between the players union and the umpires union that writers can't really put out there, and people affiliated with Major League Baseball just are trying to avoid.
I'm gonna search Twitter right now. I mean, it's just
I'm doing the same thing right now because how is this? It doesn't look like AI. It doesn't feel like AI. Everything looks totally valid. That's how umpires walk off the field through the away dugout or through the first base side dugout. I can't believe that. And yeah, I mean, it looks real.
This guy goes, apparently the umpires were the reason the top 3 of the Padres lineup went 0 for 11 in an elimination game.
Yeah. Padres can abuse, intimidate, and blame the umpires all they like, but the facts remain. Tatis was 1 for 12. Machado was 1 for 10. Cronenworth 0 for 11. Arias 2 for 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Verlander posted it.
And
it's just not getting traction.
And did you see Preller after the game walking in the Wrigley outfield?
No, let me look.
Just walking around on the phone late after the game, like late. Distraught is what he is.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Dude, I mean, let's just break that down to the most surface level ideology. How sick would it be to be a baseball general manager and your season just ended, but you just get to like walk around Wrigley all night?
Yeah, it's sick.
That's awesome. What a life.
Sick.
What a great life for AJ Preller. And your ownership just lets you do like MLB The Show franchise
they
moves
don't care
all year.
what you do.
Just do whatever you want. We have a budget, but you can trade everyone.
Good on the Phillies. They're selling a 999 challenge. So they're like have a box with cups. And I think they're filled. Let me zoom in. And they're filled. Or you like fill it or something. And then there's 9 hot dogs in the box. And it says the 999 challenge.
Let me see this. Yep, here it is.
Well, at least they did something.
That's sick.
Well, at least they're doing something right, you know?
That's sick.
At least they do something right.
Imagine going with a group and that's what you get. I mean, awesome.
I could kill that easily.
Mets would do that with 9 chocolate chip cookies.
That's legit, by the way. I heard the cookie bucket. I didn't get it this year. I heard it's great.
I heard it was great.
I didn't get it though.
Heard it was a great, like, soft.
Yeah, the last few games I was in like suites and clubs and stuff, so I wasn't able to go get it. So,
high life. Life.
So I
watching your team miss the playoffs has never been so nice.
At least I was in luxury while I was watching my team miss playoffs. But I heard the buckets were great.
Phillies Dodgers in the NLDS. We don't have to talk Dodgers Reds. Just a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby, and the Phillies get the Dodgers in round 2. I was texting Jack Sargent during the week. Unbelievable that this is the first time in the Mookie Bryce Harper era that we're getting this matchup in the playoffs. But baseball is much better for it because the names on the stage here are incredible. Before we go there, let me just backtrack 1 second. I hate to do this because I don't like the hypothetical conversation. Do you think the Mets would have put up a better fight against the Dodgers, or it would have just been a 2-game, the Mets don't belong here series also?
I think it probably would have been Mets don't belong here. Dodgers that good.
Yeah, I think so too. And now I know it was the Reds. They won 83 games. They're one of the worst postseason teams of all time. But my Dodgers coasted through the regular season take, at least for their offense, feels really strong going into round 2.
Looks great.
It's a big week for the Phillies.
It's a huge week. Can I say this about the Dodgers? It is fascinating that the Dodgers are basically the complete opposite of what they were last year. They had no starting pitching in the postseason last year, and they had this great bullpen that all they did was get big outs. And now you flip it. They have a ton of starting pitching, high-end starting pitching, and their bullpen scares the hell out of you. So the question's going to be, how does Dave Roberts deploy his starters that are healthy into the bullpen? Sasaki, Kershaw, how do they get used in the bullpen? Where does Glass now fit in? Is he going to be out of the pen? It's fascinating.
And Sasaki looked like a bit of a weapon out of the pen against the Reds. He looked like he could be a real catalyst for them to potentially make another run. But we saw it on Tuesday. The bullpen is susceptible, and this team overall is susceptible to giving up bunches of runs late in games. So the Dodgers pen did not give you any confidence this week against the Reds.
100%. 100%. So again, you love Snell. You love Yamamoto. Ohtani was good late in the year.
And
I love this start, and I love this start, except I would have started Ohtani the other night. I still stand by this. I would have started Ohtani the other night. You're going to beat the Reds, okay? I mean, I understand you can't count your chickens before they hatch, but you're going to beat the Reds, okay? You're going to score 8-9 runs. You're going to beat the freaking Cincinnati Reds. Don't waste Yamamoto here. Start Yamamoto game 1 in Philadelphia. Go with Ohtani, and if for some reason you lost the game, okay, Yamamoto starts game 3.
The rotation for the Phillies, too, on the other side, Christopher Sanchez, Aaron Nola, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez. Luzardo gets game 3. They're going to break up the lefties with Nola.
You also get Nola at home, too.
This is going to be my casual take of the episode. I don't love the names that the Phillies are rolling out. I'd feel so much better about them with Weaver, but because I haven't, again, casual take, I think Christopher Sanchez is a great pitcher. But because we haven't totally seen him be the big-time name pitcher yet, I worry about these guys against the Dodgers order.
That's a fair take. It's a very fair take. I worry about Nola. I mean, I feel
worry about Nola
punting game 2. Nola's been terrible. You're punting game 2 here. And that's the issue with this.
This is what bothers me is Luzardo's your second-best pitcher with Wheeler out, obviously. But Luzardo's your second-best guy. If you win in 4 games, you want Luzardo ASAP in the NLCS.
Right.
So why are you pushing him back to game 3 here where, let's be honest, just put your 2 best pitchers in your 2 home games in the NLDS.
I think they're just trying to get Nola the start at home, if I had to guess.
That could
they want
be
Nola to start. They want Nola to start at home.
It.
They're trying to give him the most comfortable landing spot. I mean, how bad has he been? Let me check this right now. That's Austin Nola. He's got a 6.01 ERA this year. I mean,
that's where Wheeler's loss totally kills him because you don't want to have to pitch Nola.
But his last start, 8 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 run, no walks.
All right.
Against Minnesota.
You don't want to have to pitch Nola. You'd rather have him as a 5th guy and a potential, piggyback option out of the pen.
What could he give him? I mean, this could be a lot for Nola though. At the end of his career here, well, not really, because he's still got a lot more years left on that contract. Does not look good. But either way, towards the end, what could he give you in a big postseason start against a really good team? You know, this is what legacies are made of. You didn't have a great year, but what kind of postseason did you have?
And Ranger Suarez is another guy who, the lefties here might be the kryptonite for the Dodgers lineup too. But Suarez had another nice year. Luzardo, obviously, a great year. Sanchez is going to be a top 3 Cy Young probably. So Phillies have the statistical pitchers to do this.
Suarez is really good. I mean, Suarez is great. It's as good as a number 3 as you could find, and he's probably their fourth. I mean, he is their 4th when Wheeler's healthy. So
if this team had Wheeler, this is an easy World Series favorite, I think.
Yes, 100%. You have the best pitcher, second best pitcher in baseball, and then to go along with those other 3 guys, you don't have to start Nola. It'd be a perfect scenario.
Yeah, absolutely it is, but they don't have him, and that stinks for baseball. It stinks for the Phillies mostly.
Not for me.
And the last series that we haven't touched yet, back in the American League, Tigers, Mariners, I think it has the least allure of the 4 division series. But how about Detroit? Just the biggest collapse, 5 straight series losses to end the year. They come back, they win this in 3, and pretty convincingly yesterday. Cleveland goes home. I was shocked by this.
This series set baseball back years. I mean, this series really did. I mean, if you watch this one and nothing else, you know you do not want to watch baseball at all. That was awful. Awful. But give Detroit credit to collapse the way they did, to come back and be able to beat them on their home field was very impressive. And I give a ton of credit to AJ Hinch for that, because he's one of the best managers in baseball. I'm shocked that they collapsed the way they did with him at the helm. But for them to come back, win this series, now get a trip to Seattle where you're going to be able to deploy Mr. Tariq Skubal twice, most likely. That's pretty dangerous. That's pretty dangerous for Seattle.
And for Seattle, you got to win this series. With all of the noise this year around how good your team is, you've entered this year as a heavily picked team to get to the World Series. You haven't won a playoff series in, 24 years now?
24 years.
You have to beat Detroit. And I'm not trying to disrespect Detroit and their ability to put together a good baseball game, but you absolutely have to win this series.
Sounds like you're disrespecting Detroit.
I am. Detroit stinks. You better win this series.
Braylon Allen's missing 8 to 12 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's really, Jets aren't going to make the playoffs now.
Yeah. I think Seattle's going to win this series. I think they're going to win it at 4. But, if you struggle early and you give yourself, you put yourself in a situation where the Tigers can now use Skubal twice, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in that spot.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good series, I think.
I am so excited for these. Every matchup is good. Every matchup is good.
I got to give baseball credit, especially for this wild card round, but it's gonna translate through the weekend at least. I haven't looked at next week's full schedules, but laying these games out the way that they have is just so well done. Having a game at all times, but hardly ever overlapping, is a really good job by Major League Baseball, who you see the ratings are just completely up through this entire regular season. Baseball's back. Baseball is dead. That is dead. Baseball is back. Ratings are through the roof. The rule changes, for the most part, have just helped the game so much, have helped the viewership so much. And there are playoff games on all day, every day, and everyone's watching them.
I've always said this about baseball. If baseball had the same TV deal that ESPN gives to the NBA, MLB would be just as big. It would be just as big as the NBA. With the new rule changes, the NBA's product stinks. It stinks. The regular season product stinks.
I think ESPN made a really big mistake letting go of Major League Baseball, committing so much to the NHL and also to the NBA. And Rob Manfred said it on Mad Dog in the spring. He said, you give the NBA all this money and you ask us to cut the amount that you're giving us, that you're committing to us, to cut that down by 30%. We're not doing business with you anymore because we put a better product out than the NBA. And you have us exclusively for the summer. We're the only sport for 3 months of the year, 4 months of the year, and you do not do a good enough job with us.
It's here. Baseball's here, and whoever gets that deal. I mean, I know Netflix signed the opening day and the home run derby. Did Sunday Night Baseball did somebody buy that yet? I don't think so. The issue with Major League Baseball is they're getting screwed on these TV deals, and you get stuck on Apple TV because that's who's willing to pay the most, and you're stuck on FS. I mean, a couple of these Yankee games are on FS1.
Yeah.
FS1.
It's really bad.
That's not good. That's not what you want.
And this is now where they have to turn the page, and I don't see any commitments after 2025, but this is where they have to turn the page and say, we have done a great job the last few years with improving the game and the viewing experience. We need to now capitalize on these next TV deals, because look what the TV deals are doing for the NHL and the WNBA in terms of salary cap, in terms of spending, in terms of league revenue. They're doing huge numbers and huge changes to how the league operates. Major League Baseball is far and away the worst in that area. So
it's also
Manfred's gotta get it done.
The regional networks have too much power, and especially the big ones in New York and LA. Like, it's just, you have issues with other teams in the smaller markets. But I mean, the cash cow that is SMY, that is, NBC Sports Network in Philadelphia. It's insane.
Mm-hmm, it is. And I understand too some of the flaws of baseball viewership and promoting it. 162 games. It's a really long year. People don't want to sit inside in the summer and watch every baseball game. I totally get it, but they could do much better than they are right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Watch the NBA slander.
Yeah.
Knicks are back.
Go Heat.
Knicks are back. They won yesterday.
What are we playing in the Middle East for? In the beginning of October. What are we doing?
I have no idea.
What are we doing?
I didn't know that this was happening until the Knicks Instagram story was like Josh Hart, and it just says NBA Abu Dhabi, and I was like, what? What are we doing?
My friend says the other day, they're like, yeah, they're playing in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, what? Where's that? What?
Want to rip through division series predictions here?
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Start Yanks Blue Jays. You're taking the Yankees still?
I'm taking the Yankees at 5.
I'm just going to stick to my plan on the prediction show from last week and go with the Blue Jays in 5, because I think that, Yankees bullpen will have some struggles. I think Bichette missing the series, if that's official, will be massive. But I'm sticking with Blue Jays. Got to go with it. Got to go with the gut.
Hold
on.
I mean, it should be surprising. Like, it should be surprising, but it's
not.
Crazy. That's crazy.
The NBA is an awful product, and I love the Knicks. Absolutely love the Knicks, and I love basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport.
No, it's
not. Can't watch the NBA.
Basketball is your favorite sport.
Basketball is my favorite sport.
It's not football.
No, that's why you don't hear me talk about basketball as much, because the leagues suck. The NFL is my favorite league. Basketball is my favorite sport.
Wow.
So that's why I just lock in on. I'm a Jets fan. You think my favorite sport's football?
I guess you're right.
It's hell. My life is misery because of them for 6 months of the year. But Yanks got me.
Yanks got you.
Yankees, Blue Jays. You're going Yankees. I'm going Toronto. The Tigers, Mariners, we're both going Seattle, I'm guessing.
Seattle in 4, I'll say.
Yeah, I'll say Seattle in 4 also. This would be a shocker if they lost this series. But Seattle sports fans know that it's possible. 100%. They understand what's NL DS is going to be Dodgers, Phillies. You're taking Philadelphia still?
I'm flipping. I think the Dodgers are going to
win. Wow, you're with me now.
Yep, I think the Dodgers are winning the World Series. I'm fully convinced. They're a lot of fun to watch. The starting pitching's great. And like you mentioned before, with Sasaki out of the pen, Kershaw coming out of the pen, and possibly Glasnow now, I think this is going to be the team that represents the National League in the World Series and wins it again, back to back.
Then the DS on the other side, Cubs, Brewers. I think we both had Milwaukee going through the championship series.
I'm flipping
too.
I'm flipping.
I'm buying the Cubs hype. Completely buying in on the Cubs hype.
But this is a 5-game series. It's incredibly entertaining, and you're going to be like, wow, either of these teams could have easily won this series. And
sorry to cut you off.
No,
this
you're
is
good.
the 2:00 series this weekend, right? 2:00
it?
tomorrow. Oh, well,
it?
they play Saturday and Monday, right? The
Yes,
National
the
League.
National League, yeah.
Okay, 2:00 tomorrow, 9:00 on Monday. I'll watch these games. I will absolutely watch these Cubs-Brewers games.
100%. I'll be locked in.
And then you want to just throw in World Series prediction again? See if you stay on track with yours. Obviously, you don't. You're the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to go
I'm
Dodgers.
going to go Seattle Dodgers, and I'll say the Dodgers win the World Series.
I think the winner of this Yankees-Blue Jays series is going to get through. I picked Toronto. So I'll stick with Toronto Dodgers, what I had on the prediction show last week. But we're both on the Dodgers now, which means good news for the Phillies.
You're winning the series.
Phillies, you're going through. This
Listen,
should be
last year, I'm pretty sure we went like 0 for 4 or 1 for 3 in the wild card round. Both of us. Leiden was the only one that did well, I think.
No, he was the opposite. He tanked bad.
I thought he had the Tigers.
No, he had the Tigers in the World Series, but he also had the Orioles winning. He had Houston.
So it was you that did well.
It was me that had Houston beating Detroit.
Yes.
But
I
had Kansas City, and then I had the Yankees. Leiden had Kansas City versus Detroit in the championship series. Or Baltimore versus Detroit in the championship series.
Moron.
That's horrible stuff.
So
Sox fan.
So I didn't do well in the wild card round. I did
the best, but I also didn't do. I went 3-1 in the wild card round. I had Houston over Detroit last year, and Detroit beat them. But by the way, I have to jump off the Houston train. Picked them to go to the World Series halfway through the year. They missed the playoffs. I picked them to go to the championship series last year. They don't get there. So I got to get off the Houston. It's like my Jaguars of baseball now. But at least Houston's accomplished something to earn the right to get picked.
By the way, Mets news. John Gibbons stepping down as bench coach.
Wow. It's going to be the AAA guy, right?
That's big. Yeah, JP Arancibia. Remember JP?
Yeah. Yep. I saw that yesterday. I think Martino maybe mentioned it, that he was a hot candidate to get that spot. Because Gibbons was probably going to step down. I just want to bring this up quick. 2 free agency things, and I'll wrap. Literally take a minute here. If the Phillies lose, is there any chance Schwarber comes back?
I'm telling you right now, I've read some things about Schwarber and Cohen.
I think he's a Met.
I think whether he's a Met or not, the Mets will have the highest offer to him.
I think he's going to go to the Mets. I think Tucker is going to be an easy Philly unless the Cubs go on this crazy World Series run and decide to pay up. And I think Alonso's a Red Sox after what I watched last night.
Okay. Because get worse defensively.
Yeah. Not even. I mean, Nathaniel Lowe is a butcher at first base, man. That ground ball to him that he could have backhanded. I mean, not the easiest play, but he ricocheted that thing so far it almost went out over the short pitch. And I think Alonso would be a nice fit for them. Add some power to that lineup. I thought Alonso was going to be their guy last offseason instead of Bregman.
Casas is done. They
wanted to trade him last year. He has the injury this year. He's probably not going to play the first month next season. I think they move off of him. And you just add that veteran righty bat for 3 years in Alonso. But I could see those 3 taking place. Tucker to Philadelphia, which has always been rumored and speculated. Schwarber to the Mets, which I agree with you. I think they're going to have the highest offer.
Well, especially if they lose Philly. If Philly loses this series here, they'll say, okay, well, if we lose Schwarber, yes, we'll be upset, but we're going to get a player that could possibly be an MVP like Schwarber and Tucker.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And you just get a little younger, you get a lefty, and you get a guy who can play the field at a much higher level than Schwarber.
They'll justify the $300 million I have to pay for him.
Because Tucker will allow you to let Castellanos and Schwarber walk and feel good about that.
Yeah. Well, they want to get rid of Castellanos.
Castellanos, obviously. But just taking that money, taking where they are in your organization and on the field, you feel good about replacing those guys. You don't lose much sleep if you don't get Kyle Tucker. That's a wrap for today, episode 78. Anything else before we head out, Mike?
All good. Pumped for this weekend.
We're going to announce something on Instagram about the Sunday recap or on Twitter. So just keep an eye out for it. We don't know when it's going to be. We're both going to be at the Jets game. Just incredible football game, Cowboys-Jets on Sunday.
Cannot miss that.
The pinnacle of the sport on Sunday in New Jersey from gorgeous MetLife Stadium. So we'll be there, and we'll do the recap. If it's not late Sunday night, sometime Monday, I'm sure we'll figure something out. But that's it for now. Baseball weekend. Enjoy it. Make sure you're checking out the playbook. Gabe is doing awesome live streams during these Yankee games. The last 2 nights were spectacular. He's been locked in on those. The content's great on the Instagram account, also TikTok, for this Yankees run for New York sports. So just keep an eye on that. We'll have more stuff. Beat the Odds Gambling came out yesterday on YouTube and Spotify. You can also check out the clips from social media on Beat the Odds Gambling Instagram and BTO TikTok. We'll be back.
A couple of my picks lately.
Yeah,
I'm getting threatened.
It's been rough. It's been a rough run for you.
Threats.
Need a big week 5.
Yeah.
Need a big week 5. That's going to be a wrap, though, for us on episode 78. Thanks for watching. Enjoy baseball this weekend. Let's go Yankees.